Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be going over my third and final round game from the 5th Cleveland Go Club ratings tournament. As a quick reminder before I get any further into the video, for this event I took a bye the first round, and so this was technically the 4th round of the tournament, but since I took a bye in the first round, this is my 3rd round. So only 3 rounds this tournament, which is fine. It meant I could relax a lot more than having to play all 4 rounds, which was nice. But yeah, only 3 rounds this time. But yeah, if you didn't see my other videos, I ended up winning both my 2 rounds I've played in so far. So I was 2-0 at this point. And as usual, I think for, I want to say at least half of the Cleveland Go Club rating tournaments, I have played my opponent maybe even in the final round. I know for 2 of them were played in the final round, but my opponent's Michael Stevenson. I play him just about every Cleveland tournament, and so we know each other's styles very well. We know each other's habits very well, and so going into this round, I was very excited. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. As a reminder, time settings were 30 minutes main time with 3 30-second overtime. But yeah, let's get into it. And I relished in the fact, and I enjoyed the fact that this was the only open corner I could play in the entire tournament. This is the only time I had a corner approach this entire tournament. Which I was like, yes, I get to choose the Joseki we play. So I choose this one. And when black plays here, I like to play f16. This is definitely a new move, and I've definitely explained it before as well. But the gist of this is it's very similar to this kind of extending move, and we'll see that the variations are very similar. But the key difference is if we do the same sort of moves, like this and then like this, when the Joseki finishes, my 2 groups are isolated, and usually at this point white would extend. And if we look at this variation, white has 2 groups, black has the corner and sente. So in a handicap game, you can imagine this would probably be okay for black. So what's the difference about this? So everything being normal, black would still bump here, I extend, black fixes with the tiger's mouth, and now white will play here. And this is a sequence that, or the continuation that I think is considered normal, okay for both sides. And the key here is if black, let's say black pushes this way, you can fight this one. You can fight this one because this move starts to put pressure on the upper left for black. You don't do that immediately, but that's a move to look for as white. Now, what if black plays this one? Well, actually here, and this I actually learned from a professional at the Go Congress 2 years ago, the one in Cleveland, is you actually don't cut. You just simply jump and kind of let black deal with that jump across as they so please. You still have b14 in your back pocket, and you can still extend. So, yeah, this is the continuation that I know. And so I like this more, especially in a handicap, but I'll do this in even games too, as opposed to this kind of old school, just 2-space extension. So black does everything right until here, because again, I think black is thinking about this variation, where that is the move that black ends up playing. The reason why black can play it here is while turning here is big, black is going to pincer next, and this pincer is threatening to connect underneath or seal white in. And so the real only way for white to keep black separated is to play this kind of way. But one, this exchange is good for black. This really solidifies or helps to solidify the left side. With this stone being so low, you can see it's hard for white to keep black sealed in. And that's why c18 white can't really play. And that's why usually white would just extend. But when we have this position, and we play here, again, it's slightly different because now this stone is closer, the F16 stone is closer, so it's doing a better job at sealing black in. So that's the big difference. And even if, again, if black cut jumps across, we can just fix. And black is not alive locally, so this would be good for white. And so that's why this is the move you want to play in this variation. So that if white turns, you can just block. So black just extends though, and then so I get both, which is pretty nice. So black plays all the way, hits my shape, push, and then descend or extend to the corner. Again, this is not only helping my group of stone at the top, but also putting pressure on the black group in the upper left. Black plays there, we poke, and black, and I cover. And this cut is covered or protected by a ladder, so there's no issue with the cut there. And then black lives here, and so we can see I felt already pretty good about this game because I have black's first group they made is now down to just 2 points, and now black gave me something to attack up top. So instead of that move, I honestly think black should just turn here. This will force me to have to play some extension, something like this. And it's very similar to this kind of variation where white gets 2 extensions or 2 groups on both sides, but black gets Sente and the corner. And so that's why I think black should play this way. Now, white's extension up top is a little better, but it's also a little further. So it means later there's Aji at F17 if black gets L17. But yeah, I would prefer just turning here as black. This is a key spot for both sides, because if I get it, my group is stronger, which makes black's nearby groups weaker, and vice versa. And yeah, even here, you don't want to just play here. I would really be thinking about trying to come out first at least. Yeah. Because it's not like I'm going to try to kill this right now, right? It wouldn't be worth a lot of points, and you can just run out still. So yeah, it feels a little too safe there, but that's Michael's style. Michael is down to win by half a point. And speaking of half a point, we'll get there when we get there. So I can pincer the top. So black fixes shape, and I extend. Yeah, here I should really try to play a different move to prevent getting kicked, but I was okay with getting kicked because I can attack the top. Kick, and then jump, and then I can peep here. Yeah, here I think black can simply just, especially this is the benefit of playing so solidly here, is black can do this move first. Black can do this move first. And now it makes, even if you end up doing what you end up doing anyways, this peep here is less effective. Now it is still effective, of course, but because the key with this peep is if we block, I'm going to Hane next. And if you block, I'm going to cut and capture. So maybe black just wants to treat the 2 lightly, but even now if you connect, this upper group is actually very, very weak all of a sudden. So yeah, obviously the upper right is stronger now though, but the upper left is, it's very weak. But when I peep there, I should really just cut here. Just cut here. I have threatened to peep, or threatened to cut with my peep, so just cut. And there's not really a good follow-up for black either. If you descend, I'm just going to fix, and you have weaknesses here. If you just fix, I can connect back. So now my whole both my groups are connected. Yeah, I should just do this. And so maybe black plays this way, but if black, I don't know how to fix, maybe there, and then I can keep attacking. I capture the stone. It's pretty good for white. This is definitely my first mistake. I kind of instinctually, very quickly played this move, but if I can't really attack the upper side, which is kind of what happens, I'm not really gaining much with this, right? Again, the upper left is ironclad. It's 100% alive. So this would end up just being Dame. When black connects, now we can see black shape's a lot better and my group's a lot weaker. So I jump out. I think this is a little bit too much. Again, black has a very solid style. Michael has a very solid style. But you really want to play this move. Again, I mentioned this in the first game, I believe, and I'll mention it again here. Your opponent's stones are relative, or the strength of your opponent's stones, or your stones, or anyone's stones, is relative to the nearby enemy stones. So what that means is, black is viewing themselves as weak, which is why they bump here to kind of fix any weakness here, but there's not really any weakness. So black can help their upper side group by making white's upper right group weaker, and this move makes the white group weaker. Because the whole point of this move, and we see it in the game kinda, is I'm looking to play this variation here. This is the whole idea with playing O13, where if you can't capture the Q15 stone in a ladder, when you try to descend here, you have a lot of problems. Even if you end up capturing the corner, it's going to be very painful, and you're going to have to spend moves on the inside while I spend moves on the outside. Again, it's a very convoluted and complex variation, so I won't do any variations. Just trust me on this one. When you jump here, you are looking to play here into peep. That's the whole idea. And if you connect, then this exchange is going to be good for me, because you can see black stones compared to white stones are very inefficient. So this move prevents that. If you play here and try to peep, notice this stone Q13 is a ladder breaker. So if you cut, you can simply just capture. So that's the whole idea with this jump here. Playing here prevents that, keeps white weak. And again, I don't really see a weakness here in black's shape. Like, I'm not sure what black was worried about. Yeah, I just don't know. Like, are you worried about this peep here? There's not. White's too weak here to really do anything super severe. Yeah, as you can see, white has very low liberties. So, like, are you really gonna cut? You can just extend here, and this threatens to capture some stones. You can attach and cut, or even in this case, you can just Atari and go down. So there's not really any weakness there, and if white fixes, then you can just net. So yeah, black's shape here is ironclad. So black doesn't need to add an extra move here. But since black did, I play here. And here I should definitely play this variation. Should definitely just play this variation. It's a variation I know too, and it's what I was looking for, and I still did not play it. I just jump, which is okay, but it gives black chance to capture that stone, which ends up being a pretty important stone, because now black is 100% alive, and again, now that black's super strong, that means my nearby stones are now weaker. And I cover here, which again, it ends up being not a great move. I really need to play a move like this. Yeah, you'll see this shape looks great, but this peep is actually very annoying, as it turns out. Yes, especially when black has ladders, ladder breakers potential. Like, I don't want to have to, like, this cut doesn't work right now, but, you know, if black has to go here and I have to fix, then yeah, that would be a good exchange for black. So yeah, that's why I don't do this jump. I guess you could technically crawl, but yeah, just bump here and then play here. If black backs off, again, this is already a good enough exchange. If black backs off like that, you could probably even Hane and Atari. Not fully Sente, but pretty big. Yeah, but probably just jump. Black peeps. Plays there, yep, and descends, which this is smart. You don't want to get too crazy and just start cutting. So black defends first. And I Atari now. The point of this Atari is, if black had cut first and then descended, now that stone at P15 is not valuable, because you've already gotten the use out of it. You've gotten this Atari at P13. So black could just fix like this, have better shape in the corner, and even though I capture a stone, is that not worth much. So before black has cut there, I now ask black, because if you fix, now this cut is not Sente, right? It means now if you cut, I don't have to play O14 basically in response to your cut. But since And I actually remember when I was playing my opponent, when I played this Atari, he kind of begrudgingly was like, oh, yeah, I guess you're right, basically. So I actually think probably cutting first is better, just so that you get your use out of the P15 stone. Because now black fixes Hane, and now there's bad Aji in the corner. Not immediately, but this kind of move just ends up working. If black tries to make something happen here, yeah, something bad's gonna happen for black. The thing is, though, you can't do it right now because you can't assume your opponent's going to do the best thing for you. So if they end up just giving up the 2 stones, then they've gotten 2 moves elsewhere, and black's corner is still not even threatened. So yeah, but later down the line, this block is big. So I play here. Normally I would just go all the way like this, but again, because of this cut here and this extension, I wanted a stone that was closer. So like, for example, here, I still can't Hane. And I would really like to be able to Hane because there's a cut there I would have to worry about. So by playing here, I'm kind of preparing myself for this so that I can Hane here. And now this cut is less potent, right? I can keep fighting here in the center because now obviously this is a ladder breaker. So that's my idea with Q7, because I didn't want to play a surrounding move like this because you don't want to make points with your thickness. So, but then black does something very strange. Yeah, that's as much as I can describe it by. Black does something strange. Black Hanes and even fixes. I can understand Haning and leaving it, but Haning and connecting, why? I was very perplexed by this move. Like, yes, it does fix or start to fix Aji here. Again, I don't even think this still seems pretty risky for both sides, to me at least, right? So, yeah, there's a lot of bad potential in there, and there's even other moves white could play as well, with like R18 instead. So, yeah, lots of danger potential for black. But I haven't even played at O18. So, like, black's fixing a problem that might not even be a problem. Now, we see what black's planning here by peeping, but even this, I think, is wrong. I would definitely rather cut and extend here and try to fight in the center. Because, yeah, that's the value of the S12 stone, is it takes away a liberty from these stones here. When he peeps, and every move I add, so like when I add Q10, this cut here becomes less and less of a problem. So black's like fixing my weaknesses in the center, and I'm like, okay, thank you. And then, okay, thank you, you let me connect. I appreciate that. Yeah, Hane, yes. And so black gives me a huge wall. And I'm like, thank you. Now, again, it is important to note that I have not made any points in the last dozen moves or so, even more than that. And black's definitely scooped up some cash, but now I have all this thickness. And we can see black is starting to make 5 groups on the board. And so all these groups need to live. And of course, you know, the upper left is alive, the upper side's alive, upper right's alive, but there's cuts here, and this stone here is very lonely. And so black plays down, and if I had just blocked, black would be able to get an extension to reduce my bottom. So instead, I extend first. Black kicks and kind of gives me the bottom. And even kicks and plays low. I'm generally not a fan of that kind of sequence, but it's okay. That's a personal thing, not a like a concrete thing. Yeah, then black plays here. And I think it's smart, but it is dangerous. You got to be able to count if you're going to play this way. Again, Michael is good at counting, so this isn't his wheelhouse, but he just gives me this giant bottom. And I'm very happy. I'm very happy. Now, again, it is true that when I had this thickness on the right side, you want to be able to attack with it. And black's kind of avoided any attacks and just kind of given me points, where which is not what you want with a thickness. You want to be able to attack with it, but this is a lot of points. So it's definitely nothing to scoff at. And black fixes there, yeah. Yeah, lots of bad Aji in that corner. If I just simply 3-3, there's problems. If you descend, I can still descend, which is Sente. And yeah, I'm going to live or give you a big headache as black. And what's important is, even though there's like cuts or clamps, you can't connect back to your group. Technically, there's a ko, I guess I should say. But like if you play here, you obviously can't cut. But if you play here, it's like, okay, you can connect under, but white can hane instead. And notice you still can't cut. But there is technically a ko, which is just a ko. But this ko would be very dangerous for black. So if something like this happened, black would have to worry about living. So black would probably just block, and then I would be able to come back. But even this leaves weaknesses in black's cuts here, or black shape. So yeah, that's why black fixed there, but that allows me to get f2 and then attach. So the attach here, this is a very, it might look strange, but this is actually very common. Generally, like you could do it now if you wanted, but I see it more often when black's added an extra stone here. And it has to do with now these two stones are heavier. And so we'll look at the sequence here first. That could happen. Obviously, this is the most aggressive option. If you hane here, black has two choices, basically. You can cut, or you can stand up here, or connect. If you connect here, you're going to have problems, because I'm going to hane. You can see I'm hitting this weakness here, and you're gonna not like that, basically. Like if you connect, white's going to start to live very easily. Cut. This move is Sente. This move is Sente. I'm now alive. Taking out the whole corner. Something like that, at least. Yeah. And if you try to hane, you're going to eventually end up having problems here, because you have to connect at some point. So yeah, very dangerous. If you cut though, this is probably more reasonable. You can even take here, which is nice, because when you have the two stones there, actually you have a ladder here. You have a nice squeeze into a ladder. But black can just connect, and or white can just connect. And even if you hane first and make this exchange, here's the whole thing I was talking about, is you're going to lose the stones in the center, like so. Or you're going to lose some stones in the center, I should say. Yeah, and even, yeah, white can even push first. Or can't white push first? So, yeah, white can push first. This is where my exchange here in the center wasn't as good as it could. Because if I haven't made that exchange, I guess it's okay. You can get a squeeze, but basically, even if this happens, you're going to get something in the center. And while black has a Ponuki here and has a solid corner, that was black's corner anyways. You can see somehow you were able to get to the C5 stone. And again, technically you lost a little bit there. So maybe it's even. Maybe it's even, I should say. But if we compare this to if there's no stone there at all, and we do the same thing, like this. Again, technically, yes, black can now play the ko. But if we just connect here and do this, you can see black's not losing any of the stones on the outside because there are none. So, yeah. That's why I see it more often with the one space jump, is because it basically means that E6 stone is heavy. Black has to care about it now. So in the game, black just backed off, I back off, and black takes the corner. Hane, yes, and connect. I play there, yep. And then Atari, and then solidify the corner, like so. Or the center, I mean. Although I do think playing here is quite big. It solidifies more territory on the left side, and I am now able to even hane in the corner again, which is nice. But this felt nice too. But again, this game is very, very close. Like, it's black by a few points here. And we can see, like, our territories are mapped out. Like, We're basically in endgame already, and it's only, what, move 104? And so it's going to come down to who has, who can count more, who can count better, right? Well, that's where the whole game shifts from this point on. Let me just say, would you be surprised if the entire bottom became blacks? Because I would be. If you told me at move 104, hey, you're going to lose the entire bottom, I would be like, you're crazy. But that's what ends up happening. So let's see how that happens. So black plays here, and I look at this, I'm like, yeah, like, this makes sense, right? If you do this, I have to cut, and you can capture the 2. But I was looking at this more, and I was like, okay, this is definitely the right first move. And I'm looking, I'm like, wait a second. C8 is not the only move I can play. What if I play C7? And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, well, if you push, you still can't connect. So you have to block. If you stand up, again, you can't block because I can cut, and capture. And so I'm looking at this like, okay, well, if you can't do that, then you have to block. And then if I play here, this stone gets laddered. And so here I am thinking like, yeah, it becomes a ladder. Here I'm thinking like, black's just giving me a ton of points then, right? Yeah, like if we imagine nothing actually worked here, black could have clamped, black could have just shoulder hit, made this exchange and left it, right? But black's giving me a lot of points here. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, what are you going to... And this is what ends up happening is right here. What are you going to do, black? I now have what I would imagine a pretty solid lead. Because even if black just gives this up, like so, black hasn't really gained anything with these exchanges. In fact, black has to still worry about living here. So, yeah, what are you going to do, black? It's basically what I'm thinking. Like, okay, what's the plan now? But black had a plan. Now, I don't think black had a plan when black initially went here, or even here, to be honest. Because he spent a long time on this move. And in my head, I'm like, okay, he's thinking about resigning, I think. But to his credit, he found a crazy move. And so here I'm going to just pause and see if you can find the move. This is an insane move, actually. I had no inkling of it. And in fact, when I looked at this game with AI didn't see it. It was only until when I was looking through the game, the AI is like, oh yeah, white's doing a lot better than black. Once I played black's next move, it was like, okay, maybe the game's closer than I thought. It's basically what the AI was thinking, which is pretty cool. I've only had that happen once where the AI didn't see my move, and that was even when AIs were weaker. So the fact that black Michael found a move that the AI did not even see is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so what's the move that black played? Well, as we said, just playing here would not be good, right? If you play here, I don't actually. Now that I look at it, you can't actually cut. No, you can. Yeah, what am I talking about? Even if you get hit there, you took away your own liberties, so this can get captured now. So, yeah. Or even if I just peep here, again, maybe black saved the stones, but I've saved my stones, and I even have Sente again. So it's not like black has really gained much in this scenario. In fact, black lost a few points here as well. So what is the move black played, though? Black played, and I'm even going to place it. Black played N4. And it's one of those things that you have no inkling of it, or at least I didn't when I was playing, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, man, that's a good move. Man, that's good. And so what's the idea with this move? Well, obviously if white connects, which is the obvious choice, what's going to happen? Well, black's going to extend. And I have 3 liberties. Black has 5 liberties. So I have to be able to capture these stones to be able to win the semi-eye. But now, if we play this ladder out, you'll see that it hits that peeping stone. Or gets broken here. A very, very nice move. I give Michael a lot of credit with this move. Yeah, very, very cool. So in the game, I'm like, well, I gotta save the 5, but so I play here. But of course, he ends up poking through, and the problem with this for white, and why it's not like amazing for white, is if I was able to play like here, like black's, you know, cut off these 2 stones and reduce the bottom, but I keep actually a lot of the bottom still. But the problem is there's Aji here with the clamp. And this is what's annoying about this for white. Where if I try to descend and fight this entirely, the problem is black's actually going to be able to just ending up living somehow. Because this move is sente, which means this kind of move is sente to connect. And this kind of shape is going to be alive for black. So black's able to just live on the left side. So I have to like block here, but if I play here, you can see, okay, now I have to descend. And even here, it's like, I just have a lot of bad Aji. Like if black jumps here. Yeah, it's just a lot of bad Aji there as white. So yeah, that's kind of the big problem here for white here, is I need an extra move to solidify the group there. And so I guess what that means is I played here to try to be efficient. But yeah, no, I kind of have to play here, right? Because if I try to do this one, that's... Even if I can net here, black has 2 liberties now. Black can actually just connect underneath. This would get squeezed now. So I have to play a move that captures the stone. So yeah, maybe this one, not sure though, but yeah, I end up spending a move to fix here, which allowed black to get, and this is a nice move too, to get black another move on the bottom. So yeah, good sequence by black. So really what this meant was it was a trade, but black I think was actually ever so slightly better even, believe it or not. Because while black lost stones here, it's not like black lost territory, because this was kind of neutral space anyways. Whereas the bottom side not only has become black's territory, but also took away a bunch of white's territory. But now that I have stones here, one of my moves earlier that I couldn't really use effectively, now I can. So I play here now. Because I've fixed here, this move is more threatening. So black fixes, and then Hane. And this Hane just ends up working now that I have stones at G9. But black cuts. And it's kind of... Now, obviously, time management is very important. And so it is kind of humorous to me that my opponent was able to play N4 and see this whole ladder sequence, because you have to be able to read the ladder, and right, so that's multiple moves that you have to be able to read, yet fails what I consider a pretty simple variation here, where black cuts. And I mentioned time because I'm pretty sure he was getting low on time at this point. To no one's surprise, my time was still a-okay here. But this threatens to capture the 2. Black fixes, but when I push and cut, this is where G9 helps, is that I'm threatening to capture this stone. And so black does the smart thing and just gives it up. But I end up capturing bamboo joint in the center. And black even ends up getting another move. So yeah, I ended up getting no points on the bottom, which is kind of crazy. Now this result felt good for me, but I actually could have had a better result if I had simply stood up here. Yeah, this would give me a much better result, because black still has to stand up. And if we look at the game, like, okay, I captured the stones, but black gets a very clean wall here, just seals me in and gets some points there. But if I'm able to play here, the difference is I can still play my same move, and black still has the same problems. But sealing me in is... I've just reduced black's area there by quite a bit. So for example, if we play here, just connecting now, it's the same kind of shape, basically. Yeah, if you go here, I can cut and threaten to connect here or connect here. You can't really wedge either, because in this variation, Atari, I can capture. Yeah, no real good response here for black. Black can go here. but it's again the same kind of thing. And I've reduced, I don't get squeezed down as much, and I've reduced black's area a bit. So yeah, I got too excited and like saw, oh, this move works, like let me play it. But I should definitely try to squeeze out every single point here, especially when the game is that close. Now it is true, like black could give up the 2, but I think even this, you can see how kind of flimsy black shape is in the center. This would still be good for white. Well, it's definitely good for white, but it should still be a good result for white, even compared to the other variation. Yeah, so black plays there. So I play there, yep, and cover. Black plays there, and then extend. Yeah, this, black can definitely cut once. I don't know why black does not. Yeah. I think black's worried about... What is black worried about? I think black's worried about... Like, if you take... Like, it's not like I can live here, right? So this is definitely a little slack by black. Black can just cut. You play here. I think black just assumed I had to block, but when I play here, you can see... Okay, like you can poke here, but I can seal in most of the area as well. Push, 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 connect. Play there, and then jump. Again, trying to be a little more efficient than just connecting somehow, or even connecting like this. Play there. And then play down, yep. Yeah, so now we're just in endgame once again. Again, I thought we were in endgame like 50 moves ago before the big trades happened, but now we're definitely in endgame now. And then black played here, and this was a very creative move. Again, Michael, my opponent, he knows his shapes, that's for sure. He knows how to exploit shapes, and he knows how to use shapes. So yeah, the weakness, the one space jump is not the peep, it's the wedge in between them. So yeah, what the idea with this move is always sente, right? But maybe you want to play this one. So you don't want to force into this. Yeah, you don't want to play this exchange because you might want to play this exchange. So you just start with the exchange you want to play. Because for example, if you Atari this way and you extend down and then you get sente, you wouldn't make this exchange, right? That helps white, but you could play this exchange now and play this exchange and reduce white by a lot. But if you had pushed here first and then did it, that's what you end up doing, right? So it's keeping Aji alive, basically. And yeah, so it's a very nice move. And directly, if I play this, now you can play here, and there's some things working. And so this is where I actually... Speaking of not being able to read super accurately, basically I misread here. So in the game, what happens is black just Ataris, which actually just helps me. I captured a stone, and yeah, black reduced a tiny bit, but we both captured a stone, so it could have been a lot better for black. So the question is, what if black had extended? If black had extended, you can see this cut here is starting to be a problem for white. There's cuts here, so if I connect here, black can just Atari. Or sorry, cut first and then Atari. And now white has too many problems. Too many problems. Even just doing this, you're gonna lose a lot of stones. Yeah. So it would mean you have to do this. And yeah, you lose points there. Now the thing is, like, black is losing points here as well, so it's not the worst for white, but it's pretty nasty. So the question is, what am I looking at then? Because even if I do it this way, right, this is sente as we were talking about, and now it's same kind of problem. So the question is, what was I looking at? So what I was looking at was, if I get k4 and connect, there's weaknesses on the bottom. And so when I was reading, so I can play here, I can't connect because once again, too few liberties for me. But I can play here, black has to take. In my head, when I pushed here and Atari'd here, I could capture at L2. That's what I was seeing in my head. So it was just a misread by me. What that means is I pretty much have to just Atari this way. Which would be annoying, but yeah, that's just how it is. I just have to do that one. And then I would even have to fix here next probably, but I remember actually this move he didn't spend super long on, so I don't think he ever considered just extending here. I think he only saw just cutting. I could be wrong, but that's just my impression. Play there, yep, poke there. Poke. This is time Suji. Connect, yeah, because this connection here is not small, but this is definitely bigger. Because this is a good order of moves by white. Black covers, and then I can push and then block, and now black has to worry about losing some stones. So black goes there, that's Sente, and then black fixes, Atari, and yeah. So I stand corrected. I made 1 point on the bottom, so it wasn't all blacks. I made 1 point at G3 for Atari. So yeah, we're in endgame. There is one final thing that comes up, or 2 more things that come up, but for now, let me just kind of speed through endgame. If you are interested in the games, by the way, this is true for any of my tournament games. I always leave a link to the SGF if you want to check it out in the description. So yeah, black connect, push, Atari, yep, just endgame stuff, and then I play here. So this is kind of the endgame happenings #1, if you want to call it that. So this is threatening endgame on the lower right, but also threatening to play T12. So black ends up playing T12 to say, I'm going to keep this point at S13. But here's what ends up happening is, what if I end up playing or getting rid of this liberty? Do you need to fix? Because if we combine T14 in tandem with R18, what is this life and death? What is this life and death? Now, you have to ask yourself, like, you can pause the video here and ask yourself that. But if you only have 30 seconds on your overtime, do you think you could calculate this? And by calculate, I mean not here, by the way. I mean here. Can you read what this variation is with 30 seconds on the clock? Right? It's quite tricky. And so what ends up happening is black plays here to try to keep a point at S13, but ends up playing a move inside later anyways. And so it was, you gained a point here at S13, but minus the point here. So it's a neutral exchange. This move ended up, based on how black played, not giving black any points. So black should just play here. And if I throw in, just connect. Just connect. Now maybe black thought there was still some Aji here after this, and it kind of looks like it. But without that Atari at T14, like if white goes here, this is a lot easier to read. Just a 4-move sequence of being alive. You have an eye here and a most likely an eye R15. So not only did black play a move that ended up being worth no points, I'm able to play not just push, but I can jump here. And this is a very nice move because if you try to cut me, I can cut you, extend, and then push once more, and then capture. So that obviously wouldn't be good, so black had to play here. So black played a move, ended up being worth no points, and then bled points here. So that's a big problem for black. And then black connected here, which again, I don't think is the biggest move. Black's idea with this move is, let's say black goes here, is there is a ko here for this cut here. And if I end up getting this cut, it means, right, and it's still a ko, which is the important thing here, but just for simplicity's sake, like this, if I end up connecting here, black's going to have to end up spending a move on the bottom, is the basic idea. Yeah, that's the idea with black going there. So it's not just a half-point ko. It's technically worth a little bit more, but I think it could wait a little bit because white has to take first anyways. So you could fight the ko a little bit as black, because I could push and push in there, connect, peep, and then black filled here. So again, black ended up playing T12 to save the point, but then ended up playing here. But if we just look at this really quickly, I kind of glazed over it, but if black's liberties are all gone and we do this, how is the way, or what's the way for black to win the semi-eye or just kill white here? Because white has 2 moves. White could do this one, or white could do this one. If you do this one, black can simply play here. And if you try to connect this stone here, you'll see you're going to end up not being able to block me from, or you won't be able to make an eye, basically. Yeah, if white pokes it out though, then of course, when I play here, same kind of issue, right? Even if you can get rid of the one eye, I have an eye and you don't. So because of this move, and same thing if you play here. If I bump like this, you have to descend, but then this move ends up getting rid of your eyes. If you play here, it's again, you can see it's very, very difficult. Yeah, with this one, what is this one? Yeah, I can play there, and then I can get rid of the eye in this way. So yeah, and if you connect, then I can, it's an eye versus no eye. So yeah, that's how you can kill it this way. With this one, I think it's a little easier. You can simply just, what is the best way to do it? This one. And if you connect, I'm going to be able to make an eye. Although this one, you got to be careful. It could be, oh no ko. Wait, is it a ko? Yeah, it is a ko. If that weighs a ko, then do this clamp. Do the clamp here. Yeah, of course. Yes. White's going to end up, white has to like Hane here. Although this one's really tricky too. What is the best way to just push maybe? Maybe go here. Maybe it is trickier than I thought. I remember when looking at AI, AI's like, yeah, white's dead. But this is why black ended up just fixing, I guess, because it is tricky. It is tricky. But just trust me when I say there is no issues there. It is a good problem though. So if you know the best response to this in the comments for black, let me know. Let me know. I'm actually interested in knowing. But yeah, so black ended up playing here. And I'm looking at this board. Now, I learned my lesson from earlier this year, where I resigned a game I was winning, even though I thought I was losing, when we were passing. So literally at the end of the game. So I play there, and I'm like, I think I'm losing. So I think I have to try something. Now, normally I would not really try to play desperation moves like this, but in a tournament, all that goes out the window. It's all about winning at this point, because I'm always about, if you can read it out and it doesn't work, don't do it. But since this is now as a test of in a tournament setting where it's a test of can you beat your opponent, that's all that really matters. I was like, okay, let's test black. Does black know how to respond to this? And you also have to keep in mind there is black's low on time as well. And just like in the upper right, black has very little time as well, and it's very complicated. So black connects, and I descend. And I basically get exactly what I want. I even got more than I wanted, because this is already looking Seki-ish, like this, but I get Sente too. Now at this point, Sente doesn't really mean much, but yeah, I end up making a Sente Seki. So again, there's a lot of moves here that could work. But I think the cleanest way is just to play C2, because if white hanes, you can just cut. White can't capture the stone. And if you try to descend and be like, oh, if you come back, play like this, you can actually still just descend, and white still can't cut. And if white descends, you have Miai for eyes, because you have this way or you have this way. So C2 is just a very clean way that makes it work. Now, what's crazy about this is I played this because I thought I was behind. But here's the reality of the game. Is before I even made this, so let's actually go to the end of the game first. So we ended up counting, of course. Nothing else left. And white wins by 14.5 points. So I end up winning my final game. End up going 3-0. Yay! We'll get back to what happened at the results after. But I ended up winning this game. What if I had not played here? What is the score? Or like let's assume black, played correctly, right? So we exchange one stone for one stone. What's the score here? White wins by half a point. White wins by half a point, which is insane. Because what that means is, if nothing works in the upper right, right here, black is winning by half a point. So black's move here, assuming black plays perfectly in the other corners, so that includes the upper right, this is the losing move for black. Black is up by half a point right here, which is crazy, because it showed that, one, I didn't need to do this. Obviously, a half-point game's hard to count, so even if I knew it was that close, I'd probably still try this. But yeah, that's crazy to me that it came down to black's T12 move here. If black had just gone here, and we assume the lower left doesn't happen, of course, just on the board as the score should be, I guess, if black plays correctly, black wins this game. But because black played the empty triangle, let me jump here, and then ended up fixing here, white wins by half a point, or would win by half a point. Now again, with this result in the lower left, the Seki, white ends up winning by 14.5. Yeah, so I ended up winning my final game. Not my what's the word I want to say? I'm overall happy with this game, and I do have to give Michael a lot of credit with finding this ladder breaker here after the cut here. So I think we both played well. But it was kind of like, I never feel good playing moves that I know don't work, and I'm just kind of banking on mistakes. But that's part of the game, especially in tournaments. When you're playing casual games, I always say it's more about learning is important, so testing your reading and all that. But in tournaments, that goes out the window. It's all about your AGA rank, and it's all about winning. But yeah. So I ended up winning my final round, so I ended up going 3-0, going undefeated. Only 3 rounds though, so it's good. But yeah. Results of the tournament, if I can remember them, is 3rd place was Paul Jacobs. He ended up going 3-1 in the tournament. Very good showing. 2nd place was me, going 3-0, and 1st place, who was undefeated 4-0, was Joe Kaplan. And it was their first time coming out to this specific Cleveland tournament, so it was very nice to see them. And to kick all our butts. So, yeah. As usual, the prizes for this tournament, because it's a free tournament, it's AGA rated, but it's free to enter. We get some like kind of knickknacks. We have some go books you can take, and like if you do well, like if you get first, you get to pick first, and then 2nd place gets to pick 2nd from the pile, and et cetera, et cetera. And so I think 1st place took a Go Congress bag from Cleveland because we have so many extra ones because we helped run it. But what I chose was I ended up getting 2 wooden Go Bowls because I have all the other prizes because they're duplicates of things that I already own. But I ended up getting 2 Go Bowls that are pretty nice actually, that were donated by the club president. So I'm very pleased to have been able to get those. But yeah, that was my tournament for the 5th Cleveland Go Club rating tournament. But yeah, if you have any other questions, please let me know in the comment sections below, and I'll see you all in the next video.